Hello, everybody, and welcome to Redundant Roles. My name is Kevin, and today we're going to look at the Thousand Suns Sekhmet Coven Battleforce box. So, this is the Battleforce box set. It's going to be released in January 2026. It is an amazing box set for Thousand Suns. We want today to go through the units, some of the synergies or their lack that they have, and kind of just identify how this box set is good for anybody who's collecting Thousand Suns or trying to get into them. So, maybe just a little bit of a fun fact is that Sekhmet is actually the name of an Egyptian goddess, which is a goddess of war, destruction, plague, and healing. So that's the real outside of it. In the lower side of 40k, Sekhmet is also what the Scarab Occult Terminators were named after. So that was back in the Horus Heresy side, the Sekhmet to the Scarab Occult. So what do we get inside the box? So you get one Infernal Master, you get 3 Exalted Sorcerers or Sorcerers, also the ability to put them on a disc. You get 10 Scarab Occult Terminators. You get 1 Mutant Vortex Beast, which is an absolutely amazing kit and an amazing unit on the table. Has to be gotten for anybody who's to give away 1,000 Suns. So you get 15 models inside the box. And currently, approximately you've got about 885 points as of the 6th of January, and when you put all this together, so it's quite a sizable chunk of an army, right? So if we have a quick look at the units we get, right? So I'll kind of go through a bit of my experience with some of these units and kind of how I find it best to use. I'm not going to talk about specific synergies, stuff like that, and different use of detachments and enhancements. What I really want to focus on is just the units by themselves, and maybe then in a separate video go through each of the units and look at how they can be used in different detachments and how we can use stratagems. Because to be fair, with Thousand Suns, the stratagems that are available and the enhancements that are available turn these guys up to 11 almost all the time. So the first unit here is the Infernal Master. Now, this guy gets so much love from Thousand Suns players, and I'm just not a fan of this guy, right? So if you go through his stats, standard movement 6, toughness 4, save 3 plus, 4 wounds, leadership 6, OC 1. He has 2 profiles really for his main weapon, but you have to pick from one. One is an overpowered and one is normal power. So the profile that you're really going to always go for is the 18-inch, 2d6 attacks. It's torrent, so there's no need to worry about hitting. Automatically hits, strength 6, AP minus 2, damage 1. Hazardous, psychic torrent. Great. It's basically a super flamer, right? And then his close combat is, it's okay, right? So 4 attacks, 3 plus, strength 6, AP minus 1, D3. So very swingy. It's not guaranteed, right? And he has a plus 5 invulnerable save, which isn't great. Like, that's a rubric marine invulnerable save. So he gives sustained hits 1 to the unit he's using, which, especially when leading rubric marines, which is what he should be doing, it does nothing really for me and for most players, because you're using flamers most of the time. You have the Soul Reaper cannon, but his non torrent shots. But in reality, sustained hits 1 is useless. I never got it. Don't get why this guy is so popular. The Glimpse of Eternity. So once per turn, you can change the result of 1 hit roll, 1 run roll, or 1 saving from a for mod from modified 6. Like, whoop-de-doo. Like, that's not amazing. And people lose their minds over it, They're like, oh, this is amazing. We can tank so much. You can't tank anything. Like, generally, if he's going to be getting shot, if it's down to him and he's getting shot, he's not getting shot with, let's say, 1 item coming through to him. He's only got 4 wounds. He's probably going to be attacked with some damage 2 and multiple of them. So he's going to be killed pretty quickly, right? So he's a glass cannon, in my opinion. But for this box set, it's great to have him in there. He's one of the newer models. He looks cool. So look, he's probably the part of this box that I'm not the most taken on. For me, in the way I play Thousand Suns, I absolutely love the Exalted Sorcerer. He is beyond what his stats look like. He is amazing, right? So look, toughness 4, movement 6, 3 plus A, 5 wounds, leadership 6, OC 1. Astroblast is his weapon, 18 inches, ballistic 2 attacks, d6, AP minus 2, damage 3. Yeah, totally swingy, right? Like having d6 attacks, d3 damage. It could be great, it could be shit, right? Um, and his force weapon, whatever, at 5 attacks. Like he himself is not amazing, strength 6, AP minus 1, damage 3. He's totally swingy, right? But where he becomes a nightmare for other armies to deal with are his abilities. So, while this model is eating unit, models in that unit have a 4 plus invulnerable save. That means that you're taking Rubric Marines to a completely another level of durability. They become so difficult to move, especially because a lot of items and a lot of weapons in the meta are all going to be, AP minus 2, whatever, especially the big stuff that's going to come for you. Giving your rubrics a 4 plus invulnerable save, and then, okay, I said I wouldn't talk about it, but then let's say the detachments. If you have Rubric A Phalanx, you give a 2 plus save on something that has damage D1, and then something that's going to be coming in, it's going to be probably anything that's over D damage 1 is going to be high AP, which then gets you an invulnerable save. This guy has been a nightmare for people to deal with on the table when I'm playing them. I have a squad of 10 Rubric Marines. They all are tanking huge amounts of damage. There takes so much to shift off the table, so much commitment from the enemy player, that it then opens up other areas for you on the board to go and do what you want to do. But that's not all. But wait, there's more. So, rebind Rubric. So this, again, is fantastic. Again, it is a bit swingy, but especially when you're going to be, let's say, close in, you're going to be in combat, or you're going to be kind of trying to probably hold up your enemy while you want to do other stuff with this unit, right? So in your command phase, this model is leading unit. Roll 1d6. On a 1, you suffer d3 more wounds. That's not great. But on a 2 to 5, the destroyed bodyguard unit, you can put them back onto the table. Or, if you roll a 6, you can get 2 bodyguard units put on the table. That is head wrecking for your opponent, right? So this guy is making the unit stronger. He is doing a bit of damage himself. He can also cast the rituals that the Thousand Sons have as well. Just fantastic. When I'm running it, I actually have 3 squads of Rubric Marines, all 10 mans, with 3 Exalted Sorcerers in them, and they clean up. They do an amazing job. Especially remember that because me and a lot of Thousand Sons players are using Flamers, you're going to be getting you're going to need to tank some damage before you can get in range to do your own damage. So that's another reason why this guy is great. So next we're going to talk about the Sorcerer. So this is the standard Sorcerer. So if the Exalted Sorcerer is about tanking damage and holding an area and annoying your enemy and absorbing units, this guy is going to be like an alpha strike unit, right? So movement 6, toughness 4, save 3, 4 wounds, leadership skills 1. Pandemonic Illusion is his main attack, right? But before we even go forward, to set the scene is that it's their abilities that are going to make them dangerous. But this Pandemonic Illusion, if that's even how you pronounce it, is a ridiculous attack. So 6 attacks, 3s to hit, strength 5, AP minus 1, damage 1, psychic, sustained hits 3. There's not a lot of sustained hits 3 around the place, right? Currently dealing with Emperor's Children Army, lots of sustained hits 1. They'd love sustained hits 3. So, but you'll see where that's going to go into hyperdrive in a minute, right? So, in close combat, he's alright. 4 attacks, 3 plus, strength 6, AP minus 1, D3 damage, swingy, but shooting is what this guy's going to do, right? So he's got a plus 5 vulnerable save, not as good as the Exalted Sorcerer, more along the lines of the Infernal Master, but he's going to be leading a unit, right? He has to lead Rubric Marines. And again, this is where you'll keep seeing, I keep bringing this up, and we'll touch on it more in the end. There's no rubrics in the box, right? But let's you expand the army. If this guy is with his rubric squad, let's say, give him the upper crystal, this guy can teleport around and just whack anything he comes down next to with his shooting and flamers. So we talked about a pandemic delusion, but where you're going to see the beans and the chips and the curry sauce is the twisted sorceries. Once per battle in your shooting phase or the fight phase, that's going to be the shooting phase. This model can use this ability. If it does, until the end of the phase, improve the strength and attack characteristics of psychic weapons by this model by 3. Strength and attacks by 3. Pandemonic Delusion is now 9 attacks, strength 8, sustained hits 3. That is crazy. Drop this guy in somewhere on the board, and he will just make mincemeat of most units with that. He could be potentially getting, oh god, I can't even do the maths right here, but a lot of shots, right? Now, unfortunately, his shot here, lethal hits, fantastic for his ability, and fantastic, let's say, for the Soul Reaper cannon. But again, not great for the rubrics because you're going to use torrent flamers. But he himself is a beast, and he's a good inclusion inside this list as well, and the box set. So the next one then is the Exalted Sorcerer on disc. I don't really take this guy. Movement 10, he's fast, he's got more wounds than the rest. Toughness 4, 6 wounds, 3 armor, save leadership, 6 OC 2. He doesn't synergize really with anything inside the box. Arcane Fire is his shooty weapon, so attacks D6, D3 damage, very swingy, strength 6, AP minus 2, force weapon, 5 attacks, weapon skill 2, strength 6, AP minus 1, D3 damage. Again, it's not fantastic. Arcane Shield is his ability. You can't shoot at him unless you're within 18. That's okay. Outside of this guy can be attached to some bow goats or the bow Zangors that fly around the place, and they can shoot and they can't be shot back at the extent of their range if this guy's attached. And this guy can also has binding tendrils in your shooting phase of this model is shot. Select one enemy infantry unit hit by one or more of the attacks of Arcane Fire. Until the next turn, the unit's ensnared. Subtract 2 from the move characteristics and 2 from the charge roll. Considering that this guy is meant to be staying back with bowgoats in reality, or flying around doing objectives or secondaries, that's not great. Keep your Exalted Sorcerer off the disc. Make him tanky. That's what you need. Okay, so next we go on to the Scarab Occult Terminators. So these guys are okay. They're not exactly, I would say, like S tier, the best that this faction has to offer, but they're good. They are good. They're solid. So I suppose to bear in mind with these guys, you're generally going to be deep striking these guys in, or you can start them on the table. Generally, be deep striking them. The fact that there's 10 of these in the box, this is where I was going to go into it later with synergies with what's in the box and how they work together. But look, they have a standard kind of good profile here. So movement 5, toughness 5, save 2 up, 3 wounds, leadership 7 up, 1 OC, and the attached sorcerer, who isn't the character, he's kind of like the sergeant of the unit. That sorcerer has an extra wound and an extra pip for leadership as well. So the sorcerer has an attack cognitive curse, so 24 inches, 3 attacks, 3 ballistic skill strength, 4 AP minus 3, which is a recurring thing with Thousand Suns. You see there's a lot of AP in the army. Damage 1, anti-infantry, devastating wound, psychic, and again you see a lot of psychic in the army as well. So you've got the Infernal Combi Bolter, which is like a normal bolter. 2 attacks, 3 ballistic skill strength, 4 AP minus 2, rapid fire 2. So now bear in mind that that's pretty good because, as I said, you're kind of going to be deep striking these guys. So you're hoping to get them within 9 inches of whatever they want to get their teeth into in your rapid fire. So you're going to be getting 4 shots off each time. So with those Infernal Combi Bolters. So you have the Soul Reaper Cannon. That's going to be 6 shots. 3 ballistic skill, strength 6, AP minus 2, damage 1, devastating wounds, fantastic. It's a great piece of kit. You usually do pretty well with that one. It's kind of really specific to the Thousand Suns. And then you have the Hellfire Missile Rack. This is actually a pretty good piece of kit. Never hits. Never. I've never once done anything with it. Always misses. So that's 2 attacks, 3 ballistics, strength 10, AP minus 2, damage 3. If it does hit, it'll do the business. So it could take out a Terminator. Their force weapon on the Psyker, 4 attacks, strength 6, AP minus 1, damage 3. Very swingy again. And the normal Terminators have Prospering Capacious, 3 attacks. Weapon skill 3, strength 5, AP minus 2, damage 2. So good, just solid. Where they become pretty good, but above average, I'd say, is that they have rites of coalescence. So what that does is that allows, as long as you get a Psyker in your unit, which you're always going to have, he's going to be the last guy you're going to let die, is that each time an attack targets this unit, subtract 1 from the wound roll. Fantastic. So that's going to make them ridiculously hard. So if you're shooting into them with bolters, so they're already at a 5 to wound. So now you've got subtract 1 from roll. Bolters are wounding them on 6s, right? 2 plus armor save, plus from vulnerable save. That's pretty good. On top of that, damage 1, you're going to have your 2 plus vulnerable save, big saved actually. That synergy I'm not too sure on actually. So maybe we're going to have to click that out. So a good solid unit for the box. Good models too. Now, we're on to the man himself. The Mutilate Vortex Beast. I can't even believe they put one of these in there. These units are... This is the best unit for Thousand Suns. Hands down. It's amazing. I used to take Magnus the Red. I take 3 of these guys now. They are so versatile. They buff units when you need it. They have an amazing profile, right? They dish out wounds. And they're a big scary unit to have on the table. And your opponent, when he sees them, starts to focus on them. But not going to help. So let's go through it. Mutilate Vortex Beast. Movement 10. Toughness 10. 4 up save. Okay, you're like 4 up save. Right, that's not fantastic. 13 wounds, leadership 6, OC 4. Right. Now, this is where the big part comes in. Because I want to talk about the toughness on this guy before I actually go on to the weapons. So, +5 vulnerable save. Fantastic. He has a +5 feel no pain on top of everything. So that +5 feel no pain, that's adding more wounds to him, right? So I've had shots go through on this guy that should have completely destroyed him. And the feel no pain gets him down to 1 wound, and he claps back with a beam, something like that, and takes out the tank. He's durable, right? Fantastic. And he's fast moving. Great, right? Unreal. So let's look at his range weapons. You got to pick one, right? So I suppose what we consider his standard attack is the blast. So range 24, attacks d6 plus 3, bit swingy, ballistic 3, strength 9. He has the strength. Well, I always find this fascinating actually. He's as skilled as a space marine, although he's a big load of warp energy made manifest. Okay, so strength 9, AP minus 2, damage 2. Good profile for taking out marines. And actually, it's been handy for doing it in the past. The next on top of it is the War Vortex, the Torrent. This is just a flamer. Good for taking out stuff that gets a bit too close, like Gretchen or Guardsman, but it's only okay. The most amazing thing, in my opinion, with this guy, his anti-tank ability is that, like, I think it's called Lemurous Executioner, something like that. The anti-tank tank that the Imperial Guard have. This guy has a similar profile for his shot, well, a bit shorter range, but 36 inches is going to get you pretty far across everything, right? So, the beam, 36-inch range, massive. 1 attack, ballistic 3 plus, strength 18. 18. Basically, everything is getting wounded on 3s, right? AP minus 3, damage D6 plus 6 devastating wounds. This thing is amazing. It's they never see it come. Like they're so people when they come to play Thousand Suns or against Thousand Suns are shocked you've got something this powerful that's anti-tank. So it's just brilliant. Saved my bacon in loads of games, but there's more. So, Mutilating Vortex Aura. At the end of your movement phase, right? So you're trundling up, right? Your guys try and get near them, or you want to get near your enemies. Roll 1d6 for each enemy unit. That's not saying select one. That's for each enemy unit. There's 6 of this model. On a 2 to 3, it suffers 1 mortal wound. Great. You've done fucking nothing. And it's got 1 mortal wound. On a 4 to 5, it suffers D3 mortal wounds. Right. So you could take a Terminator, right? Or a Marine or whatever. That's fantastic. On a 6 of D6 mortal wounds. Each enemy within range of ready must take a battle shock test. That alone is phenomenal. It's it's brilliant. You know, they try and come near you. You move close to them. And even if they stay within the range, they're taking multiple wounds. If you have 2 Mutilate Vortex beasts working together, you could have potentially 12 more wounds for nothing, for old rope. If you have 2 guys next to each other, with let's say 1 enemy unit within 6 or 2 of them. But again, like this unit would pretty much requires a video by itself to go through how amazing it is. So anyway, before we get too bogged down, again, just an amazing thing to have inside the box. So you've got your aura, right? So while a psyker is within 6 inches of the model, then it channels the warp. Now remember, the channeling the warp is the 3rd die that you roll. It's not just when you roll the 2. You add 1 to the psychic test of the result. Now, they clarified this in the rules update ages ago. You can't have 3 mutant vortex beasts standing next to 1 psyker and you get +3 to your psychic test result. You only get 1. But still, that's fantastic, right? That means that Magnus is going to be looking at potentially +3 to his cast, Armin +2 to his cast. And again, we're not going to be going into the whole Thousand Suns rule set here and casting and so on. But needless to say, it is fantastic, right? This guy, don't leave home without him, is all I would say. Magnus has been sitting on the shelves looking at the games. I kind of bring him along as a cheerleader, but that's all he's been doing. Since I got 3 of these guys, you know, they're just amazing. Can't recommend enough. Amazing that they're in the box, right? So that covers all the units, right? So I want to just give my thoughts. 7.5 out of 10. You're like, okay, well, you've been saying these units are amazing. The box is amazing. The models are amazing. Why 7.5? Okay. None of these units are well. I would say none of them. These units don't synergize well at all, right? And I'm going to go through it. My thoughts. Great selection of Thousand Suns models. Fantastic. Not a good starting point for the army. There's no Rubric Marines. Okay. It's great for expanding an army. Okay. Well, why is that? So, and this is why we're getting the 7.5. The Sorcerers need to go, and the Infernal Master need to go with Rubric Marines. That's where they need to be. There's no point in having them by themselves. They're not lone ops. They're not getting any benefit. They're not synergizing with anything. Nothing's getting the lethal hits. Nothing's getting the sustained hits. Nothing is getting the +4 invulnerable save. Nothing is going to be able to get any benefits from any of the enhancements that you can put on these guys for detachments. Nothing. Because the Infernal Master, the Sorcerer, the Exalted Sorcerer and Disc, they cannot attach themselves to a Mutant Vortex Beast or Scarab Occult Terminators. So they're benefiting nobody really. So the Sorcerers are amazing, great models. Amazing when you have them attached to rubrics. You don't have it. That's a problem. Scarab Occults. You've got 10 Scarab Occult Terminators. Fantastic. No Sorcerer in Terminator armor to attach to them. That is a bit strange since we have so many sorcerers. In fact, to be honest, what they should have done there is the Infernal Master, they should have just taken him out. Right? There's no point in being there. He's not synergizing with anything. They should have put in a Terminator in sorcerer armor, or probably a sorcerer in Terminator armor. But it's what's the reason they didn't do that is that it's not a Thousand Suns model. It's a general chaos model, and you kind of have to kibash it to make it look good. But yeah, no synergy there. So the Scarabs, yeah, again, no synergy. You've nobody to lead them. So you've just got a block of 10 with no leader. And then all of the sorcerers just kind of looking at each other funny, saying, sure, I'm not going over there helping them. Look at them in their armor. Fancy lads. I think they're great. Dusty boys. So they're not synergizing. The Mutant Vortex Beast, funnily enough, as I said, he is really amazing, is the only thing in there that synergizes with anything else. Reason being is his aura ability, where that if, let's say, any of these guys, or whether it be the aspiring sorcerers that would lead the Scarab Occults, or the Exalted, or Normal Sorcerer, or the Infernal Master, when they roll that third dice with Channeling the War, the Mutant Vortex Beast will give them +1. That's the only synergy. You've no battle line in this. So you've got characters, monsters, and you've got infantry. So units are fantastic, but they don't work well together. You'd have to go out and buy a box. Potentially 2 boxes of Rubric Marines to make this work. It kind of synergizes okay with the Combat Patrol. But if you picked up the Combat Patrol and you picked up, let's say, another box of rubrics on top of that, I think you'd be doing pretty well there to have a pretty good Thousand Suns army. But I'd say, look, that's really it. And look, I've actually got such a good thought for the Mutant Vortex Beast. I've even left it up here as part of the title of this slide. Fantastic. That's how much I love it. It's even stayed in the title of the slide. So, that's my thoughts. Good box set. Buy it, but you need to buy more. Appreciate you taking the time to look at this video. First one I've done. Very much appreciate it. If you'd like to see more, I never thought I'd say it. Like, comment, subscribe, and hope to see you in the next one. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.